Welcome back to another episode of Colonial Charter 1.6 beta featuring the 1.0.5 beta version of Banished. We are back after an unexpected hiatus. And we're going to jump right in. We're going to go ahead and start a game. We are in the marshes. I'm not even going to give a lot of details about what happened. Before I get started, I'm just going to get started. So, I'm looking for a place I can plop my you-know-me. I got to have my fishing first. So, I'm going to look for a place to plop my fishing, and we are going to get started. Let's see. This is probably the best place here. So, definitely going to have a bridge here. And now I'm going to show off some new stuff in the mod. Some of it you may have seen before, some of you may have not seen before. One of the first things is this. This is the new design, the new model for the small barn. They've actually changed it up. It used to be a little white barn. And now it kind of looks, it looks pretty nice. Actually, if you think about it, look at the small barn. It looks kind of like Redketchup's barns. The only difference is the shape of the roof and all that. And the mini barn for Colonial Charter doesn't have a dual entrance. So we're going to go ahead and use the mini barn. I'm not trying to say, oh, one mod is better than the other. I'm just saying they look kind of comparative. That's actually a good thing, because when you start building bigger cities, you can kind of mix and match and use both, and everything sort of has a cohesive flow to it. So let's go ahead and put this on this side, and we're going to stick our stockpile on this side. I'm going to be, for this particular setup, just getting started, I'm just going to use a plain old regular stockpile. And I'm going to be using these plain old little houses. I know they don't take a lot of people, but because of how important lumber is now, the town abodes, which actually hold more people, actually require lumber. So I would have to build a saw pit prior to this house being built. And I'm not quite ready to do that right now. I basically want these houses to go up, the people start living in them, and a place to keep firewood so they can go ahead and get started and, you know, doing the numbers. So last few things to get started, we're going to go ahead and plop our chopper so we can get some firewood going. And I'm going to put a mini stockpile on this side of the river because they're going to need a place to put the stuff that they gather. There we go, just one square, that's fine. Now I'm going to tell them what to get. We want these rocks. We want this iron ore. And let's go for these trees down here. There's more of them. So we're going to go get these trees and these trees. Alright. Let's bring up our speed. I'm going to go ahead and set that speed to 10. I'm going to pull up the general stats of the town so you can see the name of it and everything. And I am going to pull up the labor menu. I love this new menu. It doesn't have all the different professions on it. Just has my laborers and my builders. I kind of dig that. So I'm going to go ahead, switch this over. Give myself 3 builders, 5 laborers. I want to pause everything that is not the bridge or the fishing dock, because I want those buildings built first. The first thing you want is food coming in. So now, where's my bridge at? I don't see my bridge. There's my bridge. So let's get this bridge going and let's get started. So there have been a few UI changes for the Colonial Charter mod. Not necessarily big, major, oh my gosh things, but there have been some UI changes. For example, we've got this castle here. This menu, let's start with this menu. The theme set menu has kind of changed in that We've got a couple new icons. We've got the old buildings icon and the old castle icon. These are items that were around, got 86'd and brought back. And under the shoreline, the quay or quay buildings and the dock buildings, they've got new sub menus. So now when you click on the quay buildings, you got these little buildings here, and the pieces that actually go under buildings instead of being on the main bar are actually under here. These pieces will actually go under things. That's what makes this piece different from this piece that will not go under things. Okay, oh, they got this built. Let's get some people over there, and I'm going to go ahead and let them build the barn and the chopper, because it is summer and winter will happen very, very quickly. And then we'll go ahead and get the first house built and the second house built, because these guys are moving pretty quickly. I'll even start getting these resources. So let's grab all this stone here, quite a bit of stone, and good iron ore. All right. Okay, back to the theme sets. Let's look at the docks and buildings. Now this one's changed the most. Originally, this entire bar was full of buildings and whatnot, and now you've got the different buildings separated. You've got, you know, your dock shanties, your houses and everything, the small dock market, the school, the church, the apothecary. These guys are all, they have their menu. And on this side, you have all your working buildings, you know, your manufacturer buildings and all your storage buildings. They've got their own menu. Well, that's kind of neat. Keeps it from spreading out all over the place and just taking up unnecessary space. Another thing that has changed is, and I did mention this in my last video, I believe, is the upgrade menu for buildings is different. Now, instead of having this little button up in the corner and you don't know what it changes into, you've got this nice little picture where you can actually see what the next level of the upgrade is. Mouse over it, learn more about it, even see how many resources it has. Additionally, if you build a building that has multiple upgrade levels, you can skip the initial upgrade and go to the top tier, if you will. So if I, for example, let's build a stone house. We're going to go ahead and plop a stone house right there. They're going to get it built for me, and while they're going to do that, I'm going to go ahead and set down a, where is it? I'm going to use a small market. Where is it? I've been using this guy a lot. So I'm going to plop him down and get that built. So if you look at the stone house or the wooden house, you'll notice that it has multiple upgrade tiers. We've got the country house, the nice country house, and the fancy country house. With these buttons here, as long as you have the materials to do so, you have the option of skipping. So now if I want to get to this fancy country house, I don't have to build the country house and then the nice country house. I can literally just go ahead and click this button here, fancy country house. As long as I have the materials, it'll go from a stone house to a fancy country house. So that's actually really a neat thing. You have now the ability to skip different tiers of building. All right, so we've got our small market, and I'm going to go ahead and put somebody in here. And lately I've actually gone back to using the stone roads, mainly because the gravel road, which is my absolute favorite road, is not modified to work under snow. So when you build it and it's under snow, it disappears. And unfortunately, Kralyerg, who the original creator of Grassy roads, which includes that road of gravel, had a computer crash and actually lost all the files for those roads. So he can't change it, and that's not a priority right now. I'm pretty sure once all the other priorities, which are getting 1.6 ready to go, are done, he'll probably go ahead and come in and fix the gravel roads under snow. Well, anyway, let's get ourselves a blacksmith because we're going to need tools soon. Now, you don't have to build a blacksmith right off the bat. I'm actually going to show you something you can do. Many people may or may not know this, but if you go ahead and go into your dock buildings, all these dock buildings can be built on land. So if I just wanted to get started and I just wanted to have, some tools, I can go ahead and put down a dock workshop. And something else I actually like to do is put down a dock school. Now, these buildings do not require water. They can stand in water. They are on stilts, but you can put them on land. I'm going to go ahead and plop them on land. They don't take a lot of resources. But now I can actually produce rough tools, uses log and iron ore, and I can have my kids going in and out of school very early. This school does not require a lot of supplies. It requires 45 wood, and that is it. So you could literally go ahead and start an Adam and Eve map, plop that dock school on the mainland, have one of either your Adam or your Eve man that school, and you could literally start having kids coming out right off the bat educated. So that's actually kind of a good thing. Let's go ahead and start getting our kids educated. What else can we do? Let's look at some of the older buildings. Now, these are buildings where the models have changed. They do the exact same thing as they used to, but the model has changed. So the shipyard has changed from this, where it was a side landing building, and it now is a not side landing building. The shipyard should be in here. And this is what our shipyard looks like now. The end of it has to be in water. A little bit nicer. And there's different... So you got two different shipyards. So you can place them around, for atmosphere. Another building that is in our old building is the original bakery. Now, a lot of people don't like the new bakery because it doesn't match any of the buildings. The new bakery actually looks, in my personal opinion, completely out of place with a lot of the other buildings. It doesn't look too medieval like some people are saying. It looks, the details to me are higher than the other buildings. Slightly. Just enough for it to stand out and look kind of odd. I still use it. I think it's pretty. But to me, it's useless because you have to have sugar to make any of the sweets at the Colonial Charter bakery. And Redketchup's bakery uses honey. So you could actually use that in a production chain right off the bat. So, what else is new that I can look at right now? We've got the old winery. We have the old shore house. This is the old shore house. Some of you liked it, some of you didn't. The new shore house is actually kind of bigger. But it's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Alright. What can we do? Let's go ahead and build that. Let's see. I think we need to start producing some more wood. We're gonna need a lot of wood. Now, there is a thread on the forums that's called the Age of Lumber, and that's not an exaggeration. This particular update, if you will, this particular version of Colonial Charter is indeed the Age of Lumber. You're going to be using a lot of lumber. You're going to be using a lot of wood. So it's really good idea to establish your lumber right away. Is that a basket? It's a basket. Oh yeah, look at that. You're going to want to establish some kind of wood production early on in the game, as early as you possibly can, because you are going to be going through a lot of wood. You're going to need it for lumber. Lumber is needed for buildings. It's needed for building supplies. You're going to need it to make furnace fuel when you first get started, because you're not going to have coal right out of the gate. So you're going to need that. You're going to probably want to make charcoal, because charcoal is a good use for furnace fuel. And that requires a lot of wood. So you're going to be going through a lot of wood, which is why it is called the Age of Lumber. And most buildings you can build now are requiring lumber. So you can, in an Adam and Eve build, I would recommend using the saw pit. It has been upgraded. It does produce faster and it does produce more product. So now it's not a waste of your time. If you're not doing an Adam and Eve playthrough, I highly recommend just go ahead and grab a sawmill. There's one for the water. There's one for the land. Grab one, plop it down. You're gonna need it. Additionally, because there's one for the water and one for the land, you can have a little water mill, sawmill, and a land sawmill. Alright, so I know it was a very short episode and I was explaining a lot of things, forcing a lot of information at you, but I want to keep these episodes nice and short. Shorter episodes mean I can upload them and get them to you faster. So in the next episode, we are going to get started with our wood production. We've got our little tree hut that's going to eventually get built over there when I collect all these resources, and we're going to put our gatherer down and our hunter down, and I'll tell you about the changes that have been made to the hunting cabinet, and you're probably going to like them. So until then, you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching.